Jauan Jennings has made it clear he wants a new contract or he wants out. And now teams around the NFL are starting to call the 49ers because they've learned that he's upset with them. And the Pittsburgh Steelers are one of those teams. The Pittsburgh Steelers have apparently inquired about trading for Jauan Jennings. But first, before I get more into it, however, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn notifications for everything Pittsburgh Steelers news and updates. Also like this video. Now, let's get right back into it. So, the Pittsburgh Steelers trade for Jauan Jennings is a real possibility. He's in the final year of his contract, making only $8 million per year. And he could get so much more on the open market, or if he gets traded to a different team, immediately get a contract raise. So he is currently upset with the 49ers and holding out a little bit and looks for a new contract. And because nothing has got done so far, there's been a report going out there by the top ESPN insider Adam Schefter saying that he wants to either get a deal done immediately or he wants the 49ers to trade him. Pick one of the two. You can't have both. So, because Jauan Jennings is asked basically for a trade, and this is opening all the doors for teams to trade for him, the Pittsburgh Steelers have now inquired about Jauan Jennings. And this was a report going out there as well, that the Pittsburgh Steelers have actually called for him. So, you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they have a lot of cap space for this upcoming season. They could sign TJ Watt, they could trade for Jauan Jennings and still have enough cap space to make more moves. So this is a real possibility for Steelers to get a deal done. And the Steelers have reached out to the San Francisco 49ers regarding a trade for Jauan Jennings per 49ers Sports Talk. That's a source. They've said that Steelers and other interested teams are calling the 49ers. So that's quite interesting. But the news doesn't stop there, because another report coming out by 93.7 The Fan has said that the Pittsburgh Steelers brass really loves Jauan Jennings, and the top decision makers really view Jauan Jennings as a Hines Ward type of player, and that he has a lot of Hines Ward in himself. And that's a big comparison, because obviously Hines Ward is a Hall of Fame type player, has spent his whole career with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and was really a tough-minded individual in terms of doing it all to help the Steelers win, in terms of run blocking, catching, everything like that. Hines Ward was a leader, and he's someone who brought the physicality. And comparing Jauan Jennings to Hines Ward is a great comparison. And obviously, if the Pittsburgh Steelers brass and front office view Jauan Jennings as a Hines Ward type of player, then you can show that shows why they have interest in him. Because why not bring in another player that you view as your own? And we all know Mike Tomlin was around Hines Ward for a long period of time. So, in terms of the Pittsburgh Steelers being connected to wide receivers around the league, they've shown great interest in trading and being connected to basically every wide receiver that has hit the market, whether that's free agency or the trade block. And this has been going on for a couple of years now. If you remember, every player that became available, the Pittsburgh Steelers were linked to. For example, Brandon Ayuk. And that's a big one because that's a connection with the 49ers. I'll get more into that in a little bit on why that matters. And then they were connected to also Cooper Kupp, Devontae Adams. They're even connected to Tyler Boyd a little bit in the free agent market last year when they brought him in for a workout and he never ended up signing. They've just been connected to every wide receiver that is kind of mad at their team and looks to want out. And the reason why the Brandon Ayuk one matters a lot, because Brandon Ayuk is obviously a San Francisco 49er. And that means the Pittsburgh Steelers have already had trade discussions with the 49ers on what a trade would look like for Brandon Ayuk. That means they've had all the talks with the 49ers front office, the general manager, the head coach, on trying to trade for Brandon Ayuk. So those trade talks were ongoing for the entire offseason last year. So they're used to each other. They're used to kind of discussing and for a potential trade and seeing what it takes to get a deal done. So they know how to negotiate with each other. Obviously, nothing got done. And Brandon Ayuk ended up playing for the 49ers and signed a huge contract for them. But in terms of trying to get a deal done, they know what it takes. They know what they have to do to try to trade for Jauan Jennings. And in terms of trade discussions, everything's clear. Everything's out the window, and you know what to expect. And that's why that matters. Because now if the Pittsburgh Steelers go back and try to trade for Jauan Jennings, a different receiver for the 49ers, maybe it's a little bit easier for trade discussions to actually happen because of the connection they had last season for the entire offseason. So, Jauan Jennings to the Pittsburgh Steelers is a real possibility, and they have enough cap space to make all this happen as well. Because when you look at what the Pittsburgh Steelers need to do, I covered this in a different video. Last year, they did not spend up to the 90% rule, and the rule is, per the CBA, that in the 3-year span, you need to spend over the 90% of the cap. And because the Pittsburgh Steelers didn't do it last season, and so far this season, they're way below it as well, they need to hurry up and do it before they get penalized by the NFL. So whether that's this year, next year, they will have to spend over 90%. And what better way to do it than using your money to sign your top franchise guy in TJ Watt? But then on top of that, you'll still have more money left over. So you could go out and trade for Jauan Jennings and use that cap space on him and sign him to a huge contract. And to be honest, you'll have even more money to go out and maybe re-sign some players on your own team, or even sign Justin Simmons. They have enough money right now in terms of making moves and making things happen. And if you're looking for a 1-year window to go out and win a Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers as your quarterback before you try finding a different quarterback next season, what better way than making moves than going out and getting Jauan Jennings? I know many of you might think this is not going to happen. This trade for Jauan Jennings is all talk. This isn't going to happen. But you can't really say that anymore with this Pittsburgh Steelers front office, especially with Omar Khan running things. Because you would have thought that they went out and sign and trade for DK Metcalf and give him a 5-year, $30 million per year contract. You would have thought that would have happened. You would have thought that the Pittsburgh Steelers would have traded Minkah Fitzpatrick and then go out and get Jalen Ramsey and get Jonnu Smith. You just don't think all these things will happen, but the Pittsburgh Steelers have been making moves, and this front office has proven that they're not scared to get things done. They've also given it the biggest free agent contract in their franchise history last offseason to Patrick Queen. So the Steelers aren't afraid to make things happen, and to be honest with you, you can't really say that the ideas anymore are far-fetched, because the Steelers have proven that they're willing to get it done. So, now, going back to why the Steelers would even be interested in Jauan Jennings. Well, it's because they obviously have DK Metcalf, but they trade away George Pickens. So they really don't have a solidified number 2 receiver. Obviously, I personally believe in Calvin Austin, that he's going to take that next step and be the guy. And the Steelers think that too. But is it really a bad thing to go and trade for a player in Jauan Jennings who has proven he could be the number 1 or number 2 guy on a winning caliber team, a playoff team? No, that's not a bad thing. And going out and getting Jauan Jennings, who still won't be making probably over $20 million, that's a bargain of a deal. And that's a really good thing. And Jauan Jennings is a player who's tough-minded, and he's also willing to do everything to help his team win. He doesn't complain, and he does all the little things. And that's why he was compared to Hines Ward, because he brings that physicality. He's a great run blocker, going in there, blocking, putting his head down, and getting to work. But on the other hand, he's out here making catches, getting touchdowns, doing all the things that is needed at the wide receiver position in terms of route running and being physical in terms of high pointing the ball and getting down the field. So he literally does everything you want as a wide receiver. He's just not looked at as one of the top receivers in the NFL, but these past few years, he's really showed out. Even in the Super Bowl, when the 49ers lost it, they really had a chance for him to win Super Bowl MVP. If the 49ers win that game, Jauan Jennings probably wins that Super Bowl MVP. But they didn't win, and they lost, so he didn't get it. But Jauan Jennings is that type of player. He's a really good, really great player in this league and could be a good number 2 receiver. And that's what I'm saying. If you could go out and add him and add another playmaker on this team, especially a guy who's still in his 20s, that's a really good thing, because you could have him still and lock him up for another 4+ seasons, and he could still be playing at a high level. So it's not one of these older guys that you train for who's going to be here for 1 year. No, he could still play on this team and is still young. So Jauan Jennings is a great player that the Pittsburgh Steelers have interest in and have acquired about from the San Francisco 49ers, calling them, per sources. So, with that being said, let's end this video, however. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. What are your thoughts on the Pittsburgh Steelers trading for Jauan Jennings? Do you think it's a real possibility, or do you think it's far-fetched? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And would you want him on the team, or are you fine with the players we already have? And what would you give up for him? A 3rd round pick, 4th round pick? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Me personally, I would give up a 3rd round pick and pair him with DK Metcalf and Calvin Austin, making a great trio at the wide receiver position. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn notifications for everything Pittsburgh Steelers news, updates, highlights, analysis reports, everything covering this team. I've got you covered, even all the rumors as well. This is the best spot if you want to keep up to date with everything Pittsburgh Steelers football, and training camp is rolling along next week. And all the sneak preview into the practice that no one else will be able to see will be on this channel, with all the highlights, all the analysis that you need to stay tuned and up to date with your Pittsburgh Steelers. So, that's it for me, however, but until the next video, I'll see you guys all later. That's it for me. I'm out. Peace.